Don, so happy to have you here with us on NHL Tonight. We've talked to you before here on the show, and we know Carolina has really become a destination for so many hockey players. So big picture first and foremost, as you look at some of the moves you've made this offseason so far, how do you feel about the group you've assembled entering this upcoming season?
You know, we had some goals as we went into the summer. You know, we felt like we had a great season last year, but we fell short at the end, losing the conference finals. And so we wanted to upgrade some areas of our hockey club, and we felt that we were able to do that. So, you know, we're anxious and excited to start the season off here come October 11th.
Oh, I'm excited to see a particular player healthy. Can you give us an update on Svechnikov and where things are at?
Yeah, I was with him today at the practice facility. He's 4 months after surgery, skating by himself, not with any contact or anything. You know, 6 months will be right when training camp basically opens. So he's right on schedule, probably ahead of schedule. He wants to be playing today. But, you know, we'll be cautious, obviously. October is important, but as the season goes on, it becomes even more important. But I fully expect him to be ready when the season starts.
I'm always interested in the coach-general manager dynamic. When I think about Rod Brind'Amour and what he brings to the table for your club, how much does he have an impact on what you do in terms of player procurement when it comes to free agent signings, trades, that sort of thing?
Well, I think the only way it works is he's got to be involved. You know, I don't want to bring players in here that he either doesn't like or won't play his type of system. So we talk all the time. I was in my office today for couple hours. We were going through our lineup and talking about different players where they fit in that. So I think it's important to get feedback from not only Rod, but from even some of our assistant coaches and, of course, our staff. But, yeah, Rod and I have a great relationship, and, you know, we're not going to do something that he would disagree with. You know, when it comes to the money, he always says, leave me out of the money. You figure out how you're going to pay these guys. But the players we're talking about, they fit what I'm trying to do here. So very involved.
I love that. I believe it's Coach's birthday as well, so shout out to him on that one. When we just talk about, obviously, these moves that you brought in, we know you were in the mix for the Erik Karlsson, trying to acquire him, but certainly you still have a very strong defensive core. How important is it that that is maintained as we look at how this Metropolitan Division overall is shaping up, ultra competitive, just as we saw a season ago?
Yeah, no, I think the division's gotten stronger and stronger, but we felt last year the 6 guys we had, we might not have the top guy in the league, but 1 through 6, we felt that we were one of the best groups in the league. And, you know, we brought all those guys back, and along with adding Orlov in that mix, and then adding Tony here just recently. You know, our power play was 23rd, I think, in the league last year. When Tony was here, our power play was much better. So we just thought, to us and to me personally, you can never have too many defensemen. You know, you lose a defenseman here or there, and it can change your whole season very quickly. So we've built our team on the strength of our defense, and we're going to continue to look at that to be our best and deepest position.
Don, I don't want to date you here, but I remember back at the early stages of my career, I ran into you when you were in Atlanta, and it's the first time I met you. I want to ask you this question as a big picture, because you've been around the game a long time in this management position. So not specifically what's happening now, but when teams in your division, your conference, maybe rival teams, go and make big moves, take us behind the curtain here. Do GMs feel pressure like, well, our division got stronger in this area, like maybe we need to do something now? Or is that just, you just focus on what your job is for your team in particular?
Yeah, I can only speak for myself, but you know, you pay attention to what's going around, but you can't be reactive. And I think the biggest point on that is the trade deadline. You know, everybody's talking about, oh, they did this, you got to do that. And I totally disagree with it. You know, we got to worry about how we make our team the best it can, and, you know, give it to credit to other teams that can strengthen their teams. But no, we certainly only look at what we have going on and what we feel our needs are, not what everybody else is doing.
I look at your club as being on the cutting edge of analytics, going back to when you hired Eric Tulsky some 10 years ago, and how he's progressed through the system now to be your assistant general manager. What's Eric meant to your club, and what's the dynamic like working with someone like Eric?
Well, he's the smartest person I ever worked with. You know, he's a genius in a lot of things he does, but you know, it backs up. You know, analytics has come so far, and we look at reports that you'd ever even thought about even 10 years ago of how we can measure players' contributions to our hockey club. So where the analytics started, where it is now, I think we have the best in the game in Eric, and and he's got a great team around him. So to me, it's an important part of the process, not just in drafting players, signing players, but actually on ice of what we're doing on the ice, how we can counter maybe what other teams are doing, especially in power play, penalty killing situations. So, no, I can't say enough good things about Eric.
My last one I got for you is we date back a couple of years ago when Dougie Hamilton signs that big deal with the New Jersey Devils. There was a little bit of a vacancy in Carolina there for some points, some offense, and you guys filled that void with Tony DeAngelo. And it seemed like it worked really well that time. You're bringing him back here again. What does Tony bring to your mix?
Well, he could certainly run your power play. He's a quarterback on the power play. As we know, he's a feisty player. He sticks up for his teammates. He plays on an edge, which you need. Sometimes you hope you don't cross that edge too often. It's going to happen once in a while. But Tony came in. There's a lot of talk about what happened in New York and everything, and he was a great teammate. I can remember at the end of the season meeting with players, and everybody to a man liked Tony and wanted to bring him back, and unfortunately we couldn't get to a deal. We ended up trading him, but we're very pleased to be able to add Tony back into our mix. That's for sure.
Well, I love that insight there. Certainly a big piece to your team that continues to impress year after year. Don Waddell, thanks so much for joining us here on NHL Tonight.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.